What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point. Talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Oh, okay. So, today we have real Russian propaganda because, according to it, if the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, if he acknowledges that aliens exist, 10% of Russians will unconditionally believe him. Does not matter if they kinda believed in aliens before, if they were kinda suspicious, or they were categorically against the existence of aliens. As soon as Putin says there are aliens, they will be like, well, if president says, then it must be true. But you know what, in reality, I do think that this is just an attempt by the Russian propaganda to show the stupidity of the regular Russian people, to show that, like, those people, they do not have their own opinion, like, what's the point, like, just follow along what authorities tell you to do, don't even think outside of the box, just become a herd mentality and don't question anything. I disagree with this. Russian people, at least majority of us, we can think independently, we just need a little bit push, and then this is a totally different country. This is not the only thing we're gonna talk about Putin in today's episode, because recently he did acknowledge in his own words that just in case Russian defenses can be destroyed in 10 minutes. So we're gonna talk about it very soon, but first of all, let me give you a very quick update from the southern Ukrainian front lines. First of all, in Kerch, in southern eastern part of Crimean Peninsula, dangerously close to the bridge itself, there were some very loud noises and a total of 4 electrical substations spontaneously caught on fire. Well, according to the Ministry of Defense of Russia, there was not a single trace of Ukrainians doing this. Well, this was just out of nowhere, as usually it happens. Next we have a video from the Russian-occupied side of Kherson region, and apparently Ukrainians were able to destroy at least 13 artillery systems. And besides that, Ukrainians also used Gdam, and there was a small Russian temporarily military base with the concentration of infantry, which later turned into this massive funnel/pool. And then from Zaporozhye is the archival video, which is more than 22 minutes long, of literally bodycam footage of Ukrainian soldiers defending the positions, advancing closer to Russians, pushing them. It's just filled with action. So guys, if you don't have anything to watch for the next 20 plus minutes, full and uncensored version is on my Patreon, highly recommend. The link to my Patreon is down below. Right, next let's switch our attention to the eastern front lines, but first a quick stop on the territory of Russia. First of all, in Yekaterinburg, a local electronics factory, which was producing some components for Russian missiles, satellites, and even reportedly intercontinental ballistic missiles. Well, spontaneously, as it usually happens, there was a lot of black smoke. And then in another neighboring city close to Ukraine, in Kursk, local residents woke up in the middle of the night due to some loud noises. Several assault attempts by Russians happened in the last 24 hours next to Konstantinivka. So far, Ukrainians were able to repel all of them. In Kurakhove, one of the biggest attempts by Russians were made recently, so far also unsuccessful. This time they brought at least 56 armored military vehicles of various kinds. Ukrainians were able to destroy 12 of them, including 8 tanks. And then even more attempts by Russians happened in Verkhnakamenska, Perezhne and Vyimka. All of them were also repelled by Ukrainians. Next to Pokrovsky front line, a very big convoy of Russian infantry was literally advancing on foot, almost in the open field, literally under the eyes of Ukrainian FPV drone operators. Well, you can imagine what happened next. I mean, why wouldn't Ukraine attack, right? So this convoy was destroyed even before they had an opportunity to perform their offensive. But unfortunately, according to this most recent British intelligence report, it does look like that the main direction of Russian attacks right now in the east is next to the city of Pokrovsky. If you remember from yesterday's episode, it is literally on the intersection of major roads, which lead to other big cities such as Chasiv Yar and Konstantinivka. Well, Russians tried to advance closer to Pokrovsky and they were able to achieve some extremely minor gains so far. And speaking about Chasiv Yar, first of all is the video of Ukrainian also drones being able to split into atoms Russian howitzers, and then another video from the similar settlement is when a Ukrainian T-80 tank is providing fire support for the Ukrainian infantry. They're able to advance closer to Russian positions and push them further back. But without a doubt, the most significant statement in the last 24 hours came to us directly from Putin himself. I mean, nobody forced him to say this, yet he did it. Basically what he is mentioning is that if there are Western metallic cylinders on the territory of Germany, and if the West decides to use them against strategic military targets on the territory of Russia, from the moment of the decision and from the moment of launch until the impact, it will be approximately 10 minutes or less, which most likely, in case Russian army will be completely unprepared, well, the defenses will not be able to protect anything at all. This is him basically literally acknowledging one of the major weaknesses of the Russian defenses. For whatever reason he decided to do this. To be honest, this might be just some kind of a bait to see if actual Western metallic cylinders will be delivered to very close to the borders with Russia, which gives another reason and another justification for Putin to continue this special military operation, because I highly doubt that Putin will be just literally acknowledging such significant facts in the public media. But I do think that there is at least some part of truth in this statement, is that yes, in case there is a launch from the West, it will take approximately 10 minutes or less. What I do think also Putin did not mention is that Russia indeed does have the capabilities to intercept them. Unlike Putin said that, well, if we are not prepared, we won't be able to do anything. But in the end, this is basically yet another so-called quote-unquote clever way of Putin to escalate the situation without being the actual person to directly escalate the situation. He just makes this statement, which are literally borderline with the escalation, hopes the West does something in return, and then he'll be like, well, take a look, Russia is just protecting itself. Every single action we are doing is to protect the interests of our country. And indeed, almost right after the very first statement, Putin did mention that in case Russia does see metallic cylinders on the territory of Germany, then Russia will feel completely unobliged, that Russia will not feel any responsibility putting their own missiles as close to the NATO borders as possible. Once again, exactly what I just said. This will be done in order to protect the interests of Russia. Guys, let me know down below in the comments what do you think about all of this, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, all the useful links are down below: PayPal, Patreon, Instagram, merch. Thanks so much for watching, see you tomorrow.